Now, as far as more on the dinner I had with this Mormon historian, one of the things that I asked him in our long conversation was, well, I have to tell you, this was when I was working on the newsletter that we just put out, Sacred Marriage or Secret Affair, and I'd just been working on all of that and going through all the stories of Joseph Smith's wives and was fairly appalled by the whole thing. And so I'm having dinner with this guy, and I said, how can you avoid the conclusion that Joseph Smith was a sexual predator? And he said, well, you know, that's, he was sincere. But I said, well, no, I don't think that's the way you get it. Because, for instance, in the newsletter, I tell about the case of Lucy Walker. Now, here's a young girl where she's in a family of 10 people, or 10 children. The family converts to Mormonism. They end up moving to Nauvoo. But the mother gets malaria in Nauvoo and dies. And then one of the children dies. So now we're down to 9 kids. And Joseph Smith's solution to this family's situation is to send the father on a 2-year mission to the East Coast, divide up the children into different homes, and take the teenagers into his home. So now he has this 16-year-old girl living in the home with her brother that's a year or so older than her. He starts privately going to the sister to try to convince her to become his plural wife. And she's praying about the whole thing. She doesn't know what to make out of it. Well, then it turns out that Joseph's wife, Emma, and the brother go on a shopping trip to St. Louis, and while they're gone, Joseph gets the girl to marry him, and she's just that day, the day before, turned 17, when she marries him in polygamy behind Emma's back. She later wrote in her own story of her life what a devastating thing and how hard this was for her to do. She said, here I was without mother or father to consult, no one around to go to talk to, and yet being presented with this great issue. And of course she prays and finally feels God spoke to her and told her to do this, and she goes into this plural marriage. But so I'm talking to this historian, I says, this shows a deliberate effort of isolating this girl from her family, from everyone around her, from any support system, in a time of grief and loneliness. To put that kind of pressure on her is signs of a spiritual predator. I don't see how we can excuse this kind of behavior and say, well, he was sincere. You wouldn't give that kind of leeway to someone that approached your 16-year-old daughter. If your pastor came to you, to your 16-year-old daughter behind your back and proposed something like that to her, and you found out about it, you'd be so mad you'd try to kill a guy. So why does Joseph get a pass on these things? I don't understand how they keep saying it's okay. And if you read the story of the different wives, they all are horrible. Going to young teenage girls and saying God sent an angel with a drawn sword that was going to kill Joseph Smith if he didn't go into polygamy. If she didn't marry him, God was going to kill him. And the struggle, the weight of responsibility this would put on a teenage girl, I'm going to be responsible for the prophet's death? Then he would also put the responsibility on these young girls that if you consent to this, it will ensure your parents' eternal salvation. They will have exaltation. How can a girl say, no, I'm not going to help my parents have eternal life? And so she finally submits to this. But to me, it clearly is the pattern of a sexual predator. But this fellow feels the Mormon Church does more good than harm, and we're here now, and that's where his family's at, and of course he's not living in Utah, so it's much, he's got a lot of non-Mormons around him, and so he doesn't feel the same pressure as you would if you were here locally. But we see this more and more with the scholars of this moving away from any truth claims, and everything becomes relative. Does it work for you? If it's working for you, stay there. If it's not working, then look for something else. And so Our heart is that they come to see truth is important. What we do with our lives is important. The lies of Joseph Smith do affect people. They aren't just innocent things that don't touch other people. Because of Joseph Smith's polygamy, we have all the polygamists today. Mormons will say to me, but look at the fruits of Mormonism. I say, yeah, the fruits of Mormonism are 60,000 people living in polygamy today. That's the fruit of Joseph Smith. Those people wouldn't be in those situations had it not been for him privately going to teenage girls and coercing them into plural marriage.